mesh analysis. Find current in 5 ohm resistor. Circuit diagram: 8 volts, 1 ohm, 10 volts, 4 ohm, this is 3 ohms, this is 2 ohms, then you have 12 volt, 5 ohms. So first is assume the direction of current I1, I2 and name it as I1, I2, I3. Assume it in the clockwise direction. Apply KVL to the mesh. So this is mesh number 1, this is mesh number 2, this is mesh number 3. Apply KVL to mesh 1. So negative to positive plus 8. Voltage will be always considered as voltage drop. So it will be minus IR, that is the assumption. So minus 1, it is applied on mesh number 1. So current I1 is greater than I2. So we say I1 minus I2. Minus 2, I1, it is applied on mesh number 1. So I1 is greater than I3. So I1 minus I3 equal to 0. So 8 minus I1 plus I2 minus 2 I1 plus 2 I3 equal to 0. So this will be minus 3 I1 plus I2 plus 2 I3 equal to minus 8, equation number 1. Then I say apply KVL to mesh number 2. Apply KVL to mesh number 2. When I apply KVL to mesh number 2, starting from this point, I am saying minus 1 because it is always considered as voltage drop applied on mesh number 2. So I2 will be greater than I1. So I say I2 minus I1. Negative to positive plus 10 minus 4 I2 minus 3 I2 minus I3 equal to 0. So minus I2 plus I1 plus 10 minus 4 I2 minus 3 I2 plus 3 I3 equal to 0. So I1 minus I2 terms, collect the I2 terms, it is 8 I2 plus 3 I3 equal to minus 10, equation number 2. Next I say apply KVL to mesh number 3. When I apply KVL to mesh number 3, starting from this point, I go clockwise. So I say minus 2. I am applying it to mesh 3. So I3 current is greater than I1 current. So I say I3 minus I1. Minus 3 I3 minus I2 minus 5 I3 plus 12 equal to 0. So this is minus 2 I3 plus 2 I1 minus 3I3 plus 3I2 minus 5I3 plus 12 equal to 0. So this is 2I1 plus 3I2 minus 10I3 equal to minus 12, equation number 3. 3 equation, 3 unknowns, solve and find the value for I1, I2, I3. So I1, it is minus 3I1, 1, then 2, then minus 8. Second equation as 1, minus 8, 3, minus 10, then 2, 3, minus 10, minus 12. So I1 is 6.0126 amperes. I2 is 3.2704 amperes. And I3 is 3.3836 amperes. So they have asked the current flowing through 5 ohms. So the final answer will be current flowing through 5 ohms is I3, which is equal to 3.3836 amperes. Let's see the next question. Next question is find current in 3 ohm resistor. Find the current in 3 ohm resistor. So this is 3 ohms. This is 4 volts. Then this is 1 ohm. This is 2 ohms. This is 5 ohms. This is 4 ohms. This is 6 ohms. And this is like this. So first is assume the direction of current in the clockwise direction. So this is the direction. Name it as I1, I2 and I3. Apply KVL to loop mesh number 1, mesh number 2 and mesh number 3. So I say when I apply KVL to mesh number 1 starting from this point. So negative to positive is plus 4 volt minus 3I1 minus 1. I am applying it to mesh 1. So I1 is greater than I2. So I say I1 minus I2 minus 4. Again I1 minus I2 equal to 0. Sorry, I1 minus I3 equal to 0. So 4 minus 3I1 minus I1 plus I2 minus 4I1 plus 4I3 equal to 0. Collect the I1 terms. It is minus 8I1 plus I2 plus 4I3 equal to minus 4, equation number 1. Next I say apply KVL KVL to mesh number 2. When I apply KVL to mesh number 2, starting from this pointer, I say minus 1, mesh number 2. So I2 minus I1, current I2 will be greater than current I1 according to the assumption number 2. Then minus 2 I2 minus 5 I2 minus I3 equal to 0. So minus 1 I2 plus 1 I1 minus 2 I2 minus 5 I2 plus 5 I3 equal to 0. So I1, collect the I2 terms, 7 and 8. So minus 8 I2 plus 5 I3 equal to 0. Equation number 2. Next I will say apply KVL to mesh number 3. When I apply KVL to mesh number 3, again starting from this point, minus 5 I3 is greater because I am applying it to mesh number 3. So I3 minus I2 minus 6 I3 minus 4 I3 minus I1 equal to 0. So minus 5 I3 plus 5 I2 minus 6 I3 minus 4 I3 plus 4 I1 equal to 0. So this will be 4 I1 plus 5 I2 minus 15 I3 equal to 0. This is equation number 3. 3 equations and 3 unknowns. So find the value of I1, I2 and I3. I1 is equal to 0.6586 amperes. I2 is 0.2426 amperes and I3 is 0.2565 amperes. Current through 3 ohms is I1. So current through 3 ohms is I1, which is equal to 0.6586 amperes. Next, question number 4. Question number 4 is find current in 4 ohm resistor. Find current in 4 ohm resistor. Circuit is like this. This is 5 amperes. This is 2 ohms. This is 5 ohms. This is 6 ohms. This is 20 volts. This is 6 ohms. This is 4 ohms. So first is assume the direction of current in the clockwise. So see, this is clockwise, clockwise, clockwise. Name the assumed current as I1, I2 and I3. So first I1 equal to 5 ampere is already given, because this 5 ampere is only and only in mesh number 1. 5 amperes is only and only in mesh number 1. So current in mesh 1, that is I1 is flowing in mesh number 1 is 5 ampere. If 5 ampere current was in between two mesh, then we don't write it directly, but because 5 ampere is only and only in mesh number 1, we say that I1 is 5 ampere. I1 is going upwards according to clockwise direction. Our I1 is also going upwards, so our assumption is correct. So we say I1 is 5 ampere. Suppose if I1 was downwards and we are assuming the current to be in the clockwise direction, then our assumption is wrong. So we will say I1 is minus 5 ampere, because this direction and this direction are opposite. But here this direction and this direction are same. So we say it as positive 5 amperes. Positive 5 amperes. Okay, next. I1 is 5 amperes. Now we have to apply KVL. Apply KVL to mesh 2. When I apply KVL to mesh number 2, starting from this end in the clockwise direction, I am going from negative to positive, so plus 20. Then voltage is always voltage drop, so minus 5. I am applying it to mesh 2, so I2 is greater, so I2 minus I1. Then this will be minus 6, I2 minus I3 equal to 0. So 20 minus 5 I2 plus 5 I1 minus 6 I2 minus 6, plus 6 I3 equal to 0. So this is 5 I1, but I1 is already 5. So I'll directly write minus 11 I2 plus 6 I3 equal to minus 20 minus 25. So I write a minus 11 I2 plus 6 I3 equal to minus 45. This is equation number 1. Next I will say apply KVL. Apply KVL to mesh number 3. When I apply KVL to mesh number 3, starting from this end, I say minus 6 I3 is greater, because I am applying it to mesh number 3. See, this is 3, this is 2. I3 is greater, so I3 minus I2 minus 6 I3 minus I1 minus 4 I3 equal to 0. So minus 6 I3 plus 6 I2 minus 6 I3 plus 6 I1 minus 4 I3 equal to 0. So this will be 6 I2 minus equal to minus 30. 6 into 5 is 30. This is equation number 2. Two equations, two unknowns. So simultaneous linear equation, number of unknowns, select 2. We are going to select 2. Because I1 and I2 is there. Minus 11, 6, minus 24, 6 I2 minus 16 I3 minus 30. So I'm getting I1 equal to 6.4286 amperes, and I2 I am getting as 4.2857 amperes. So they have asked current through 4 ohms. Sorry, this is I2, this is I3. Current through 4 ohms is I3. So answer will be current through 4 ohms is I3, which is equal to 4.2857 amperes.